Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is Snap Report weeks 1 to 7. Hope you're listening. If not, you're lost. Chasing the volume is a good rule of thumb. It's not the beginning. It's not the end. It's in the journey. Okay, and that's how you approach a system. It's not one number. It's not one factor that allows you to move forward in fantasy. It is a multiple approach, multiple data streams, and you need to get with the program. And this is part of that data stream, looking at snaps, which gives us an idea about the volume, the opportunity, these kind of things. And before I hit the snaps, I do look at efficiency and I present data here. I call it team level points scored per second and yards per game. And then I compare those two metrics and I call that efficiency. And then in this case, I actually have looked at the differences in teams that have gone up and down in efficiency in the last uh, few weeks compared to the overall season. So this is the efficiency in the last few games, and the top teams for efficiency are the Jets, Green Bay, Tennessee, New England, Dallas, and Buffalo are ascending in efficiency. Notice Green Bay overall is not very efficient of this group, but they're getting better. The trouble is they are not scoring a lot, but they're putting up kind of some okay yardage compared to what they're scoring. So overall, that works out is a pretty good efficiency. It's not the best efficiency, but it is improvement from the way they were earlier in the season. If you look at the overall efficiency 2022, that's the whole season, and this is the last few games here. And notice it's improved, and here's the differences. So they have improved. I'm just making note of who's getting a little better. Who's getting a little worse are Miami, Tampa Bay last night, Detroit, Carolina, Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh all declining. If you compare the two points scored per second and yards per game, if you look at those, they are declining in the last few games. So it doesn't mean that they won't go back up, but that's the state of things. Hopefully, Miami will go because Tua's back. Tampa Bay, I don't know what to tell you there. Detroit, Goff is inconsistent, and that is showing up here. Carolina, who's the quarterback? That's a problem. Jacksonville just has not put all the pieces together and continue not to do that. And Pittsburgh, we still have problems there. So, and if you look at the efficiency in the last few games, and you see who's been really good here, it's Jets, Tennessee, Seattle, Vegas, New England, Atlanta, Minnesota, Kansas City, Dallas, Buffalo, Green Bay, Arizona, in the tops here, and the bottoms are Pittsburgh, Denver, Tampa Bay. The Rams, last year's champs, suck efficiency, Jacksonville, Miami, Detroit, Washington, etc. So you can see who's sucky and not sucky in the last few games, last three games in efficiency of scoring versus putting up yards. So more points and more yardage equal goodness for fantasy. Less of that is not goodness, right? So you need to have a framework of how teams are producing in the last few games. This is a line in the sand for us to look at. Doesn't mean we think this will happen. The next three, it just kind of gives us a snapshot of what's gone on the last three games. You've got to be nimble. You've got to move. You've got to monitor. Okay. You can't look at the first couple games of the season and think you figured it all out. You have never figured it out. And you should never be resting and thinking, then just donate your money, okay, and time. Just here, folks, take my money. I'm constantly, all the time, working, moving forward, 24/7. It's always in my brain, crushing it. Okay. I know people talk about it. I don't know what they're doing. You can see what I'm up to, folks. This is, well, doesn't just take 10 minutes. No, this don't take 10. And when I produce this, I spend time thinking about what this means and comparing. Okay, it's not like I just whip this out and throw it up there and forget about it. No, this is stuff that I use. This is my process. You're just joining along. Say, well, this is a lot of work. Well, you want the fire and you don't want to chop the wood. That's fine. Donate your money. The next aspect I like to look at is positional usage measured by snaps, looking at the teams and running back, tight ends, and wide receivers. The usage is defined by the average snaps proportionally within the team. I just like to see what's happening within the team. And so you end up getting tabular numbers like this. Here's Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo. I give you the position, RB, TE, and WR. I give you the scoring. This is PPR points per snap, and I put that on a scale of 0 to 100. And you're saying, where's the 100s? Folks, it's not that efficient. Okay, 40s and 50s are damn good. 60s, 70s are spectacular. You're not going to see 100. Usage in the team, and then any differences in the last few weeks, I make notes. So, for instance, and then the actual snaps, 1 through 7, you can follow that and see what's going on. So, the composite numbers, scoring wise, Arizona's scoring best with their running backs, but they don't use them a lot. So that they're over producing versus usage. Their wide receivers are not scoring a lot, but they're highly used. So it's very inefficient. The tight ends are getting better in efficiency, but scoring's still down. We need to see more, Zach Ertz. But see that usually tight end, you're measuring probably one player. Okay, rarely like New England, you'll have Smith and Henry. You'll have two. Mainly it's one. So that's a little bit funky versus wide receivers. You'll have 3 or 4 running backs. Usually 2 or more are involved at some level in scoring and playing. So it's a little bit funky that way. You just have to understand the metrics there. There's Atlanta, what it's doing, everything's negative. Baltimore's improved in running and wide receivers. Mark Andrews been going down and he is hurt again. So that number has been going down because of his injury issues. I think he's been hurt for a while. And I think that metric is caught that. So you got a plane last night. This is Friday, by the way, and this Thursday. I know you got a plane, but I was not happy and not overly surprised. Buffalo. Buffalo has improved in running backs and wide receivers in scoring. They're really scoring. Really. Look at it, 49. They are rocking and rolling. That is the Buffalo story. There is their wide receivers. Josh Allen. It's embarrassing the league here. This is great for him. And the running backs are not scoring too bad. Dawson Knox, sadness there. Sadness. I mean, he scored better than, say, Ertz, but and used a lot. But if you compare that, he's overused versus what he's bringing back. That's not good. Here is a way to measure it visually. This is scoring versus usage. Take a look at Arizona. Running backs, nice. Tight ends, suck. Wide receiver, suck. But look at the usage. Look at that gap. So if you want to see the inefficiency, look at the gap. Notice there's no gap here. Very super efficient. Bad. Atlanta, not too bad, but look at the gap here. They want Pitts, but they're not doing anything. Look at that. Uh, look at Baltimore. They really gonna miss Andrews here. Look at the gaps. Buffalo doing well. Look at the so Buffalo is overproducing in two of its positions. Not bad, folks. So you can use this to get a thumbnail of what's going on. The rest of these folks out there, they don't even know what they're talking about. This is the landscape. You need to memorize and know this. Okay, fingertip knowledge. I don't have time to memorize. That's fine. Donate your money. Okay, so you can continue. I'm not gonna go in. Look at Cleve. Look at Chubb. You talk about overuse. Look at the overuse there. It's crazy. Okay, craziness. Let's see if we can find a wide receiver that's overused. Boy. Kansas City. Look at that. You just don't know which one, but that's not bad. Look at the gap. Nice. Look at the Rams. Cooper Kupp. Look at that right there, folks. Look at that. Nice. Look at New Orleans, folks. They're tight ends with Hill and Juan. Nice. Look at Minnesota's doing not too bad. So right away, you can kind of see where do you need to have your wide receivers? Where are your tight ends? Where's your running backs? This can tell you a lot right here. Okay, this can tell you a lot about what the teams are doing. This is just gold right here. I'm sprinkling the nuggets in your path. Refuse to pick it up. Okay, this is the actual player level. So we went down from landscape to the player, and you can look at how things are changing. And Arizona's getting Connor back. So when Connor was back, went back to sadness there. So it's curious to see, have we seen the Eno show and he's gone? I wouldn't give him up, but he may not produce anymore. Look at Ertz, not bad. Rondale Moore and Hopkins. Look at that. Hopkins right back in the mix, folks. Dortch is surprisingly the number 3. I'm really surprised at that. He's been hit or miss. Green was out, and they were talking about maybe he's getting traded, so maybe Dortch is a solid. Trouble is, I don't think there's enough meat on the bone here to give you full. I mean, he has 22. That's not bad scoring, but it's not a Hopkins. And Moore is even less efficient here. Brown, they're missing Brown. Look at the scoring level. Hopefully, waiting for Patterson. Look at that. 64. That's incredible. Waiting for him. I think Alger's been doing okay, but not doing what we need. Huntley been scoring hellaciously, but not being used a lot. So very super efficient there. Pitts, could be better. Drake London could be better. Zacchaeus is scoring better than London. Huh? There it is. So you can get a feel for what's going on and what's happening, folks. This is just gold right here. And a lot of times you can figure out who's coming up next and who could be the third person. I think McKenzie is 3 in Buffalo. Yep. Versus Davis and Diggs are the 1A and B. Okay, that kind of thing. Anderson's gone. So looks like Marshall is coming on. He may be the number 2. Just don't think there's enough to go around. Smith looks like the number 3, but does that help you? No. Looks like Deontay Foreman, but Hubbard could score a lot. So those are tied. So we'll need more information to see who fight. This may be a true split here. I wouldn't give up any of those guys right now. Commit, nice snaps, but sucks scoring. Look at it, 16. That's just bad. Look at the scoring levels of Mooney. Sad. So take a look at that. This is just gold. Chase is out. So Boyd, look at the scoring level. Boyd versus Higgins. They're almost the same. Almost the same snaps. So who's the number 3 in Cincinnati? If Chase is out, I'm thinking Thomas. Right here. Look at that. When Higgins was out, Thomas stepped up. So if you're saying who should I grab number 3 as a handcuff, Boyd and Higgins, you want Thomas. You have an extreme deep bench or maybe a deep dynasty, that's the play. So we can predict who's going to be the 3rd here with injuries, folks. Nice. This is just, here's the notebook. Figure it out. Okay. Gallup, sad on Gallup. Sutton, Hammer is coming on. I think he could be good. Just got to have enough meat on the bone here. Gordon's not going away, folks, but Murray and need. In fact, Murray's scoring super good in 2 weeks. Look at that, 47. Melvin, 32. Sad. So take a look. With Brown out, looks like it's Raymond all day long. So he's your 3. Don't know about the Kennedy cat. Just he's getting time, but he's just not producing. Curious if Shark comes back. He was featured early, but is injured. So just watch for things like that. See what's going on. The data's here. You can go through it. Spend you some quality time thinking about things. If Cooks is traded, Chris Moore looks like he's the number 2. And if Collins is hurt, Chris Moore could be the 1. Dorsett could be the 2. So those are waiting in the wings, folks. But again, is there enough meat on the bone? That's a separate issue, isn't it? Sad about Jackson here. Looks like Hines is back. He's the number 2 show, and Jackson just waiting for Taylor or Hines to get hurt. So you're stuck. You can't get rid of him, but he's not going to do anything for you. Guess the tight end by snaps. Woods is the most efficient versus snaps here, 42. Suck snaps. Pittman, Campbell is doing well, but it's not scoring. Pierce is scoring a lot, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 1A, B, and C. So not sure if there's enough meat to give me 3 here. Guess you pick whoever you got and hope they go off that week. What else? Anyway, you can go through this. You don't want to hear me run my mouth anymore. Okay, you can go through it. Think about it. I want you to have good luck. Think about this data. It's at the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. You can handle this business. You can crush this week. Come on. Oh, and if you do have Andrews and you have a bench, I would go ahead and look for next week. Look at the data for who would be a good tight end for next week. I'd go ahead and get that person. I wouldn't wait for waivers. Just saying, jump ahead of the game. I would, because I think Andrew's going to be out. Okay, woo woo, we're having fun.